Hello, my lovely inkblots, and welcome back to my channel. Or if you are new here, hi, my name is Ash. I am an otaku and a writer. Today I want to discuss a manga series that I have been enjoying for quite a while now. Over a year ago, I went to my local bookseller with my fiance Winter, and I spotted a series that I had seen shouted out in a short video about GL series. And by GL, I mean Girls Love. That was when I picked up the first volume of Whisper Me a Love Song, or, if you know the Japanese title, Sasayaku You ni Koe o Utau, which is a GL series written by Takeshima and published by Kodansha. The closest thing I could probably relate it to is Given by Kizunatsuki, since both stories focus on teenagers and bands, but Whisper Me a Love Song is much more lighthearted and their plots are very different. As of right now, there are 6 volumes of the series translated into English, with the 7th on the way, and the day I started binge-watching this series to make this review, it was actually confirmed for an anime adaptation. I'm super excited about the prospect of an anime for this series, but before I talk about that, let me talk a little bit about the manga itself. Whisper Me a Love Song is a sweet series that follows 2 high school girls, a bubbly first year named Himari Kino, and the seemingly cool third year Yori Yasanagi. Upon learning that this was a love at first sight story, I was worried about whether I would really like it since I don't believe in stuff like that. But the more I read, the more I found out that it wasn't really a love at first sight story, at least not for one of our main characters. At the beginning of the first volume of the manga, Himari goes to her school's entrance ceremony where the band that her best friend's sister is in holds a performance for all the students to watch. Himari immediately becomes fixated on Yori and ends up running into her later that day. Himari declares that seeing Yori in the performance was love at first sight for her. Yori, who is never one for romance and relationships, becomes flustered by this and comes to terms with her own feelings for Himari. But when she tells Himari how she feels, she finds out that it was all a misunderstanding. Himari's love is more like admiration than the romantic kind of love. Yori promises to find a way to make Himari fall in love with her, and that sets up the whole first arc of the story. The story seems to be in its second arc right now, but talking about that would wander into spoiler territory, so I'm not going to get into it. So far, I really enjoyed the story, especially because it delved into a topic that I found to be interesting. But before I talk about that, let's talk a bit about the characters themselves. After reading the first 6 volumes of Whisper Me a Love Song, I absolutely adore some of the characters. Himari Kino is, like I mentioned, a bubbly, sweet character who is also a little oblivious, kind of like your run-of-the-mill shoujo protagonist. However, when she is unable to figure out her own feelings for Yori, she becomes very introspective and shows that she genuinely cares about the thoughts and feelings of those around her. She isn't as carefree as she seems and doesn't intend to do anyone harm. She's the kind of character that would have to remember that not everything done with good intentions works out, but most things don't keep her down. On the other hand, we have her love interest, Yori Yasanagi. Yori is essentially a kurarai, which is a character who is cool, calm, and collected on the outside, but is actually very sweet once you get to know them. She acts cool in front of Himari while saying what she thinks to be the most embarrassing things. When away from Himari, she is easily embarrassed and relatively shy since she doesn't like singing in front of other people despite having an amazing singing voice. Oh, and she loves cats. She could be convinced to do almost anything if she gets something cat-related out of it. I can relate. Yori's best friend is Aki Mizuguchi. While I won't get too into Aki as a character because, again, spoilers, I have to say that she has become one of my favorites. I worried that I would hate her, but seeing the way that she deals with Yori and Himari and their relationship makes me respect her. She appears to be happy-go-lucky on the outside, but is often weighed down by her own thoughts and feelings. She usually hides this, but I look forward to seeing her break out of her shell as the series goes on. Yori and Aki's other bandmates are Mari Tsutsuki and Kaori Tachibana. They don't play a large role in the story so far, or not as large of a role as the other characters I've mentioned, but they are childhood friends and seem like a potential side couple. They also provide a bit of comic relief and help Aki talk sense into Yori and support Yori's efforts at sweeping Himari off her feet. Finally, we have Momoka Satomiya, a member of the cooking club and one of Himari's senpais. She acts as Himari's support while she's figuring out her feelings for Yori, and also introduces us to some other important characters later in the series, but I won't talk about them in this video because, again, I don't want to wander into spoiler territory. Now that that's out of the way, I want to talk about the topic that I mentioned a little bit earlier. In the first 3 volumes of Whisper Me a Love Song, I thought it was cool to see how Eku Takeshima explored the topic of how everyone loves differently. While hanging out with Yori and trying to figure out her own feelings, Himari questions what love looks like to her, and it leads to us learning more about what love means for some of the other characters. For Himari's best friend and Aki's younger sister, Miki, she sees things like kissing and holding hands to be a sign of love for her. These are things that she would only do with someone she loved. For Yori, this is singing for the person that she loves and doing things that she thought she never would for them. Momoka mentions that if she loved someone, she would bake them sweets and things for them to eat. Through these conversations, Himari is able to find her answer for Yori and discover what love means to her, and it's exciting to see how these things influence her own definition of love. Whisper Me a Love Song is a wholesome, pleasant series that is a little slow when it comes to pacing, but amazing when it comes to presenting lovable characters and fluffy romance. I personally enjoyed the series, especially since it's so lighthearted and the dynamic between Himari and Yori is just outright adorable. When it comes to the anime adaptation, I really hope that they stick at least somewhat close to the original art style, since certain parts of the manga are visually stunning. I also cannot wait to hear how the music in the series sounds, especially since Yori's Japanese VA is the same VA as Kujo-Sara from Genshin Impact. While I didn't get to read Given before watching the anime adaptation, I really hope that I get to experience what its early readers mean when they say that they were blown away by the music. I hope I can add some new amazing songs to my playlist when it comes out, and I'm waiting with bated breath for both the first episodes and the release of the 7th volume. Anyway, that is all I have to share for this review. This was my first manga review, so let me know what you think in the comments below. I decided not to go into full-on analysis mode since I really wanted to encourage people to go and check out the series for themselves, and I really didn't want to spoil too much. However, I may do a full analysis once the series ends if anyone would be interested in that. Anyway, if you liked this video, let me know with a like and feel free to subscribe if you would like to see more. My goal is to review 1 new manga or manga series per month this year, so more will be coming soon. I also write my own LGBTQ+ fiction, and I am working on a GL project as we speak, but I have a finished book available to read for free on Wattpad, Honeyfeed, and Royal Road right now. If you happen to like fantasy stories that focus on action and provide lesbian rep, feel free to check it out. The title is The Rise of the Dragon Queen, and all the links can be found in the description below. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day! Bye!